In this video we will learn how to apply and adjust materials to objects, and also how we can do it that one object has several materials. First of all, every object for your visualization should have a material. So if I just choose, for example, this cylinder, and I go into my a material or object color, it's not enough to say just I want to make this red and make a visualization like right now, because this visualization just doesn't have all the things you need for a really photorealistic visualization. It doesn't have ambient occlusion and things like this. So what you always have to do, or what you always should do, just take a material and switch on ambient occlusion and then apply this to your object and do your visualization. This definitely looks much better, and this is how you get a photorealistic rendering. Here we can already see the result, this object without any material, just with the color of the object, and here with the material, and you can already see this took 8 seconds, and this with a more complex plastic material already 19 seconds. It's also really important that you understand that 3D Studio has to know how to deal with the material related to the geometry of the object. And there are some things like standard primitives like cylinders, and there's also something like a sphere. In these spheres and these sphericals and the boxes, they always already have mapping coordinates, and so 3D Studio more or less knows how to deal with this. So if you use these standard shapes, you don't have to do anything apart from in an architectural way use real-world map size. I will talk about this later. What you can see is a simple sphere, a simple cylinder, a simple box, and this is a box where I just deleted one polygon. I put a shell modifier on top, not really complex, but a little bit more information than just a simple box. And I just select all these objects, and all these objects get the same material, and I just give them a new material. Something like a wooden material. I just go into my Autodesk materials, and here into my settings, wood. I just take a simple one, for example, like this birch, and I just apply it to all these objects. And you probably already know from the first videos, I have to say show shaded material in viewport. And I also want to use ambient occlusion with a maximum distance of 120. Go into use other materials, color form other materials, and we just do our first visualization. Okay, here we go. I'm not really convinced of my example I use. I just want to have a little bit more pronounced mapping. So I just take, for example, something like this, and a size of 25 by 25 centimeters. We talk about this a little bit later. I just go into my rendering again. Okay, here we go, and we can already see what's happening with this example in a much better way. Most of the time, if you use objects which are not based on a box or on a sphere, and you just apply material, you get a warning in 3D Studio Max. It's a little bit like something like this: missing map coordinates, UWV, and then you have the name of the object. And this just means that this object doesn't have a UVW mapping, and 3D Studio does not really know how to deal with these objects. That's why you have this warning, and it's really important to do something to just apply something like a UVW modifier. And we just have a look at this box here a little bit closer. So this is my box, and if you look at this, you can already see that at the corners my material is a little bit distorted. I'm just going to shade it so we can see it better. If I just extend my shell modifier, we can probably see it even better. And this box just needs a UV W modifier. I just go into my modifier list and choose a UV W map. And if you look at this right now, it still doesn't look better because there are different kind of settings. You have the settings of planar, which is a little bit like a beamer. It just projects onto the top, and here it's just following the corners. You can also choose box, which is excellent. That is actually the setting you need. You can or could go to spherical, which doesn't make sense. You can go to cylindrical, so you always have to choose the right settings for your shape, and I normally always use box for my orthogonal geometries, which most of the time already works pretty well in a design and architectural context. Okay, I zoomed out again. You can already see that the box already looks pretty good. If I just go to my sphere, of course, my sphere can also have a UVW map modifier on top. And if you just go for this planar view, then it doesn't look good for the sphere. But anyhow, you can use a cylindrical. That's also not perfect. But if you go to spherical, then it already looks good. And the same with the cylinder. If you go into UVW map, this is what it looks like with planar. You can just see that it looks okay from the top, but it doesn't look good at the edges, at the side. And you just go into cylindrical, then this is the result, what you get, and you can just choose different kind of settings to always find the right way of how to deal and how to project the material on your 3D object. Okay, here you can see first visualization. You can see that it already looks pretty good. All the objects are properly mapped. The next question we have is how can we just give one object several materials? And I just isolate again my box and go into my user orthographical viewport settings. And what you actually have to do is you just have to add something like a multi-submaterial to your object, and we just choose one of these empty spheres in my material editor. I just go into get material. Here we go, and under my materials, and this time standards, we just choose multi-subobject. And multi-subobject is more or less like a container. It's a little bit like a bunch of flowers where you can just adjust how many materials or flowers you would like to have for your objects. And I just go for 4 materials. And you can just see that every material has a material ID number. And if I just choose now under none my first object, my first material, I can just choose it, for example, for my material editor, for my slate material editor, and I just go into my sample slot, and here I just choose for the first ID my wood material as an instance, and I just go up again to my parent. I just go into my second ID, and this case I just choose this mirror also as an instance, and I go up again to my parent, and for the third material I just choose for example something like this metal structure also as an instance. I go up again to my parent, and for my fourth material I just choose, for example, something like this concrete, and I just go up again, and so I just created a multi-sub-object material. I can also name it box furniture and apply it to my object. This obviously doesn't look good. What you have to do is you just have to apply a new edit poly, because in my edit poly on my polygon level, I just select all, I can just choose my polygons, and every polygon has its own material ID. If I, for example, choose these polygon, you can just see that this has ID number 1. If I choose this polygon, it has ID number 6, but there is no material with material number 6 in my multi sub-object. So what I have to do is I can probably just choose all polygons and I just give them all material number 1, and then you can already see what it looks like. Just have to select this again, and if I, for example, select these materials, I can just say that these materials, these polygons, I'm sorry, should have material number ID number 2, and this means this is the mirror. And if I go into the inside and choose these materials like these, I can just say that these should have material number ID number 3. And so you can already see that this is a good way of having one object with different kind of materials, and we just see what this looks like in our visualization. Okay, here we go. It's a really simple example, but you can already see that it works really well. One thing it probably makes sense to do, if you have this edit poly and you just use it for setting your ID number, you can just say this is edit poly and you call it set ID, probably material, or just do it in a way that you know what you did on this edit poly level, so you can always get there and say this is a position to change your material.